Hey everybody, Michael Sitwain here. We're kicking off podcast 3. We're going to be chatting about smart pricing and just pricing dynamics.
Dope. What's going on? How was your week? How's everything? Everything good?
Everything's going
Everything
well,
good?
luckily. Yeah, finishing up holidays and stuff. A lot of
Yeah,
people
same
aren't
here.
working, but we're still here.
We're still working, still at it, still going great, still going strong. I love it. Yeah, jumping into it, man. All right, so first things first. Um, what do you think? Let's talk about profit and maximizing profits. What do you
Yes,
think?
so the idea on profit maximizing is the main two drivers is the price, whatever ADR you have, and then that occupancy that you're running. So it's like seeing how to optimize it. Because if you hit 100% occupancy, you're leaving money on the table. People are like, how? Well, if you charged a little more for every night and got 90% occupancy, you would get less usage on your property and you would be able to maximize your profits more. What we see where the profit maximization happens is around 77 to 85%. That's where we optimally like to be on average. Of course, with low season, it's a little lower, but with that, it has those two components are the most important for running profits and seeing how you can make the most revenue. What's your thoughts?
But but even then, on low season, we still maximize on profitability and occupancy with lowering uh, that ADR rate. Not too much, not where you're not making a good profit, but still maximizing. We're studying the market. We're studying what's happening around the market. We'll get
Yeah,
into some of the cool stuff happening with some of the properties in the area in a little bit.
yeah. Yeah, I was just speaking on like saying like March in Miami. That's probably going to be a month with close to 100% occupancy. So people are like, oh, did we not do good this month? It's a looking at an average of like if like December, for example, had about a 60% occupancy, you average those two out, you get about 80%. So it's an idea of just not looking at it month to month, maybe looking at it quarterly or looking at it as a yearly average. So you don't get yourself stuck on like, oh, this month we didn't make as much as we should because we're not in that range. Every month won't be in that range. The idea is to hit that range on a yearly basis.
Right.
But hopping into smart pricing and seeing about smart pricing dynamics and things like that, what's your thoughts on all these tools that are out there and things?
I think it's very important to kind of dig yourself deep into some of the pricing tools that are out there. They can really help rather than using the Airbnb pricing strategy or pricing tools that they have. I think that the Airbnb pricing tools are shit. I mean, some of the best ones out there. We could name PriceLabs. They do a really good job at maximizing your profitability and also checking on competitive rates around the area, and things like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, no, I
what
agree.
do you think?
The smart pricing on Airbnb isn't smart for us. It's smart for them
Right.
because they get to make their percentage if it's 50 a night, if it's 100 a night. So usually what we see, I recently set up some units in Ohio and the smart pricing was recommending $56 per night for these properties. And I was like, no way. I was looking at PriceLabs and I set them up at around 103 to 110. I'm testing out some differences. It's a little A/B test. And with that, we got bookings for the weekend already.
Bro, I think
And
that's
so
absurd.
Airbnb
$53?
pricing makes sense for them because they get to make their fee. So they're not worried too much about, does this make sense for you? They look at usually what I see on smart pricing is 40 to 50% less than what you should truly be charging as an ADR. Does that mean you have no nights that are 50, $60? No, a Tuesday or Monday that's an orphan day, maybe around that price if you want to discount it that heavy. But on average, it should be double what we see on Airbnb and these other OTAs. VRBO doesn't really recommend you pricing. They've been doing a better job. They have a dashboard set up to help you look at other properties. Something that we can mention though, that I really do like about Airbnb's latest winter update, I believe about a month ago or whatnot, maybe 2 months.
Yeah. Hmm.
They have an update where you can see other people's properties and you can see the pricing that they have in place on the Airbnb platform. This is like a watered down version of what we see on PriceLabs, you know? So it allows you to have a little bit of an idea of what the market is, what other people are charging, do they have occupancy and things like that. I would say use that, but use these software and tools to supercharge it as well, because we're not just on Airbnb, we're on VRBO, booking, direct booking. So you want to make sure you have your prices set up and correct all over the place.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're maximizing profitability.
Yeah.
If your ADR isn't set to the correct amount, or at least a competitive amount, then bro, you're just fucking yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Excuse my language, but that's what it is. It's the honest truth.
And then something I want to get into a bit is how to set up a base rate. What I see that's key is sometimes people go a little bit higher than what they should when they kick it off. Your property is new, it has no reviews. Your account might, but that new property has no reviews in place. So it is tougher for people to trust it. So what we usually do is we'll see whatever the 50th percentile is for, let's say, 2 bedrooms in the area. And we'll go about that 50th percentile, if not a little lower, depending, of course, if it's a luxe property or whatnot. But we'll go a little lower to incentivize bookings. And then as we get reviews in place, we're going to go up to the mean, if not probably 10 to 20% higher than the mean. So the idea there is start a little lower, get yourself reviews, get some traction. And with that, you can increase the price as you see fit, as you get more reviews and that listing gets built up more. I think that's really key because the trust factor on the reviews is huge.
100%. And I really think people price their Airbnbs or their listings a little higher due to the excitement. Because when I first started, I was like, all right, let's freaking price this shit up to like $400. You know, but obviously that's not feasible. You live and you learn. But you know, I think that comes with all the excitement. You're like, all right, I'm ready to get this thing listed. Let's go.
Yeah.
But follow those strategic pricing and dynamic pricing tools. Trust me, that they're gonna help. They're gonna help a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and with that, it's like the main thing is to get a good base rate, and then from there you could set yourself up a high point, which honestly the ceiling should be as high as you can possibly go. We don't really care too much about highs, but then on the lows, see what low, understand what your unit economics is per night, making sure you optimize for those weekdays that we usually see less occupancy on.
Of course. And this all ties into the entire grand scheme of things operating an Airbnb. This is one of the main factors, you know. This is key
and
too.
The way that we have it set up, everybody can do it, you know, to each their own. We have it set up that PriceLabs feeds into Hospitable, our channel manager, and then that feeds onto all the OTAs. So then we have Hospitable as the main one. And then, for example, for VRBO, because their fee structure is a little different, we have a 12% markup on the properties that are on VRBO as opposed to Airbnb, just because of how the fee structure works on the insurance side of VRBO.
Right. Pretty interesting stuff.
And then chatting about like different ones, we've tested out beyond pricing. What's your thoughts on just comparing those two a little bit?
So I remember reading on beyond pricing, some of their stuff is just, I mean, your personal opinion, would you rather a flat fee or a percentage taken from you?
I guess that depends how much my property is making. If my property is making maybe less than $10,000 a year, I'm gonna go ahead with the percent because the flat fee might be a little too high as a fixed cost. Right. But if my property is making anything above that, which most properties in the US should be, if not, talk to us. But with that, the flat fee would make more sense because if not, you're giving, it's the same idea that why people don't like managed, having financial managers in place that are a percent, because a percent for the next 30 years ends up being a shitload of money that could have been in your pocket. So it's better to have a fixed fee structure with these kinds of things. And with us, that we have multiple properties under management, beyond pricing doesn't allow you to have a more properties, better pricing strategy. PriceLabs, it starts at $19.95, and then it drops down to about $13 when you have 10 listings, and it just drops gradually from there. So it allows you to really have a lot of benefits, especially for us that are operating multiple listings in multiple areas.
All right. So thoughts on managing during peak season and low season? What do you think?
So I'd say to chat on this a little bit, we chatted about this a little bit last episode, but I really want to dive into more of the pricing dynamics and things like that. The main thing when looking at low season is you want to be the first to be booked. And when you're looking at high season, ideally you're one of the last to be booked because the urgency that builds is still there. So that allows you to have less with the idea is with low season, maybe only 50% of the listings in your area are going to be booked. So you want to make sure you're in that 50, not in the other 50. So that means if you're booked 3 months out, you're happy, you're already good. On the high season, everybody's going to be booked out. So some people underprice their listings. And then as more people get booked out, there's less listings available for a potential guest. So then as your listing is one of the last ones, if not, I'm not saying be the last one, but be the last 20% to get booked for a high event like Formula One coming up or Derby over in Louisville, you're gonna be making the most you can with these properties because of that dynamic on that high and low season.
And talking about those like main events like Derby and like Formula One and those peak seasons, and also Ultra in Miami in March, what are key things you think hosts or even owners should do to, you know, kind of price their properties at a certain rate? You know,
I think
even if it's
hosts
like,
need to be aware of every single event happening in their city every day. And you know what? That's actually very tough to do. So that's why it's lovely to have these tools that help you understand and have about 5 different factors like demand, supply, urgency factors that play into how much the pricing should be. So like, for example, for Derby, that's something that happens in Louisville every year. Sorry, it's about a weekend event, but that whole week things are happening. Starting Wednesday, there's some races. The main race is on Saturday, though. So the big thing is Friday through Sunday. There is no like there's so many private jets coming in to the airport that the traffic control around Louisville is insane. So that just shows the wealth that's coming. We have some properties nearby and also some properties that are farther from Churchill Downs, the event, where the event is held. Properties that are maybe going for 100 a night are going for 800 a night. Properties that are going for 200 to 300 are nicer properties. They're going for 2,500 to 3,000 a night for that whole time. I've read about people on Facebook groups and stuff that we've been, they were like, oh, I didn't get to update the pricing. Somebody got Derby for 300 a night. What do I do? Well, if you're a good host, you're shit out of luck. If you're a bad host, you cancel that and you go ahead and try to rebook it on another platform because that same platform won't let you rebook, most likely. But if you want to be a great host, you have PriceLabs set up and you have this dynamic pricing in place with the base price, and then you have a roof. For the properties in Louisville, we have a roof set up of about 4,000 because more than that, we feel like, you know, where's the value, right? We have to be honest. But we do have some of the biggest properties in the area, so that allows us to drive up where we want the pricing to be. For this coming year, we already have 3 out of the 6 spots booked. The other 3, I'm holding out. I'm keeping that price up. Every month, I'll decrease it about 5% as we get into April. And then by April, it will be booked because this is a huge event.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Chat a little bit about F1 down in Miami related to that's coming out.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to get myself into right now. And I'm thinking we should do the same thing for one of the Miami properties, since back-to-back months, March, April, May. I mean, you know, in Miami, people have all these events even before that race weekend in May, from the 3rd to the 5th. Bro, there's going to be tons of events that the week before. Miami's always popping off. They're always doing something crazy. Or the week before that, you know, 2 weeks before. But yeah. I mean,
so, and that to say, like, there's events happening all the time. These are big events, so we know about them. But there's smaller things that are going on that we just can't be aware of it. You know, we're operating in multiple markets. all the way from Gainesville down to Tavernier in Florida and in some other states. So then this really allows us to be able to have a finger on like, all right, this event's going down. We don't have to worry about the pricing being up. With that being said, though, it is good to not just let these tools run. I check these every week. I look through all the properties, see how the occupancy is doing. For example, at the beginning of this month, I was running through occupancy and I wasn't too satisfied with our weekday occupancy on some units, a little bit in the Midwest. It's just the winter, so stuff just slows down. So what we went ahead and did is I went ahead and did a 12% or 15% discount on the weekdays and a 5% discount on the weekends. After we did that, in the next like 24 hours, as that got implemented and in place, we ended up getting like 12 bookings for that month, really filling out the calendar, showing that we were a little overpriced for this lower season. So this is why it's key to have the tools, understand how they work, but also have that human aspect, look at it every week, make sure it's updated, because sometimes PriceLabs will recommend you, if like, let's say you have a base rate of 150 and PriceLabs is seeing some other stuff, they'll recommend, hey, base rate should be 167. You could be leaving money on the table. Or maybe you have low occupancy and then you got to bring that price a little down. It's a occupancy is low, price should go low. That will bring occupancy up. Occupancy goes too high, bring price up. It's like a little seesaw. We want to be as close to balance as we can, and that's where we make the most. Yeah. It's always it's a science, you know. We work on it as we can.
Bro, I think you crush it.
I love to look at market updates. Another thing I love about PriceLabs, and I'll show. I really love how they allow you to tap into hotel data, which they just aggregate hotel data. That's all public. So you can go on Google and find that, but this allows it to be easy for you to see hotels in your area. What are they charging? This is especially important if you're in the 0 to 2 bedroom, but also if you care about what hotels are doing in pricing effects, because they know pricing. They've been doing it for 20, 30 years. So Hilton and all these guys, their pricing dynamic is set up right. So understanding how they're doing pricing could help you do pricing even better.
Yep. And it puts you at a competitive market spot, makes you thrive.
So to wrap it up, a couple of key points. PriceLabs and Beyond Pricing. You can test both out, but one is fixed fee. Sorry, PriceLabs is fixed fee. Beyond Pricing is a percentage fee. So I would recommend PriceLabs over Beyond Pricing. Apart from that, make sure you get your low season occupied but first, and high season be the last. And that is how you maximize revenue on those both ends. And look back at the beginning of the podcast to see how to set that base rate up. That's a little bit longer, but it's great info there. Next week, we're going to be chatting about guest experiences and how to better guest reviews, cleaning feedback loops, for example, using Torno to be able to have reviews feedback into your cleaning, which is stellar. Looking forward to chatting with y'all. Justin.
Guys, we'll see you soon.
If you have any questions or want a revenue estimation on what your property will make, comment down below or send us an email and we'll go ahead and get you a revenue estimation. Or if you have any questions, we're happy to answer. We've been operating for over 3 years, have had over $1 million in revenue and have over 450 5-star reviews. So we are here to create great guest experiences.
And then also check us out on the website and our social medias too. We're on Instagram. It's Stay Maven. Just type it in Instagram, give us a follow. And then also on YouTube, subscribe if you like our content. We'll be here.
Love it.